I can be a digital.
Time for Geek Speak Live. For the next 2 hours, we'll entertain you with the best of what's going on in the world of geek. So get ready, get set, let's see. A busted tree. It's just a tree.
It's the Hollywood Rockin' Wrap-Up with your host, Jason Hadley. Producers for MTV's dating show For Singles somehow missed the fact that star Dre McCoy was already married. In fact, the two recently had a baby together, so maybe Dre thought he was applying for MTV Cribs. Sad news as Shirley Temple passed away at the age of 85. Famous for her work as a child actor in the 1930s, on the plus side, at least she'll be with everyone else who saw Shirley Temple movies in the 1930s. Rap mogul Suge Knight reportedly punched a worker at an LA area medical marijuana dispensary. Now, these stores see upwards of 500 patients a day, so I assure you Suge Knight wasn't the only brownie knocking people out. Ellen DeGeneres hit a milestone as her daytime talk show topped 5 million daily viewers. Hey, not bad for a show hosted by Macaulay Culkin. Oh, wait. Boy band One Direction are in talks to develop their own reality show. I'm really hoping they go for that vote one person off each week format. And that's the Hollywood Rockin' Wrap-Up. Follow us on Twitter at Rockin' Wrap-Up.
It's time for you to meet madness head on, greet insanity with open arms, and embrace delusion with a handshake and a gun to your head. It's time for American Psycho. Here's the host of your experience, Mr. Brian Crow.
Hey everybody, how's it going out there in Radio Land? It's so nice to be back here with you for another episode, and actually sort of the last episode of American Psycho. No, I'm not going anywhere. I don't care what they say or what they want to have happen. Nope, I'm still going to be here, but we're going to take a couple weeks off and sort of reconfigure, and maybe change the name and see where, maybe change up the format a little bit. But I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you all for your support over this course of time. We have a very exciting show for you this evening. We are going to be having a couple of different guests, and as we deal with some technological chaos, as is the way here, we'll be solving all of that and getting on with some interviews and some entertainment and all that great stuff. But hey, here in Los Angeles, a couple of very exciting things happening. Number one, we're having our 1 day of rain. That's right. Every year in Los Angeles, we certainly have one day that the skies open up, the water falls, and people drive like complete morons. Yeah. And anybody who's here in town, you know who you are, trying to dodge the raindrops with your Land Rover. But not just a regular Land Rover. This is LA. It's a hybrid because, we care about ecology as we plow into cars left and right side of us because we're late for an appointment. That's correct. So that's going on. And then this Sunday is also, it's the Oscars. It's the Academy Awards. And so all of Hollywood is completely shut down to avoid traffic in front of the Kodak Theater. So what they do is they close down Hollywood Boulevard and create lots of traffic everywhere else. Because that makes sense. That's a good idea. I like it. So, and of course, with the torrential rain that's going on, you know what? The red carpet might be a runny red carpet. And all of the hairdos and the mascara and the suits and the dresses and everything will be, it's not who you're wearing, it's who's attached to your flesh because you're covered in water. Yep, that's exactly what's going to be going on. Very exciting. And maybe you'll be tuning in and, I don't know, see, it's always crazy. Los Angeles is weird when it comes to weather because it never rains here, and yet somehow it's like, okay, wait a minute. What we have is in every other part of the globe is referred to as sprinkles, and we have storm watch. all over the news and the radio, every place. It's like this massive event as though the world is coming. It's the apocalypse. No, it's water falling from the sky. That's it. That's all it is. A little bit of water, a little H2O. I think you were in the shower just a little while ago and enjoying it quite thoroughly. But for some reason, when you're driving around, it's a problem. But yeah, so that's what's happening. How's everything out there with you guys? Cool, glad to hear it. Everything is great and everything is wonderful. We're looking forward to, we've got a couple of great guests coming on. First coming up, we are going to have a gentleman who has got an unbelievably long career in movies and actually music. A gentleman by the name of Gianni Russo, very famous from the film The Godfather, and we'll get much more into. He's done so much more than that. Just, I mean, really an amazing career that is still ongoing and thriving. And then we are also going to have people in from the sci-fi TV show Ghost Mine. Which is not a possessive thing. It's an actual people that are exploring haunted mines and what are the crazy things that they're finding other than dead canaries. But that was a canary in the coal mine reference. So that's what we've got coming up. That's what is going on here on this this good night voyage for American Psycho. Because, you know, I think it's time to maybe change things up. We haven't decided exactly what the name of the show is going to be after this, but I'm sort of become fond of the idea of Eat Crow, not just as a show title, but just as a concept. I think that's the way to go. Hey, it looks like we've got some stuff working on, so hang on one quick moment here. Gianni Russo, are you there? Can you hear me?
I'm here, my buddy. How you doing?
Excellent. I'm doing well, thank you, and thank you so much for taking the time to come in and Skype in with us. I really appreciate it.
This is all this new technology. You know, I'm still using an old block phone.
Right? Yeah,
Sean will tell you that. I'm a dinosaur.
No, it's all crazy stuff.
Am I coming in okay? Because I can't see anything here. So.
The lighting seems to be I mean, I can see the general outline of. I see that you're wearing a black coat and a white shirt, and clearly by the shiny smile, you've flossed recently, so that's good.
That's all I see. I like that image. When you're my age, you don't want to be too glossy out there.
Right.
I don't want to be George Hamilton at 8 o'clock in the morning. You know?
You mean the world's largest Oompa Loompa?
Yeah, you got it.
Well, again, thank you so much for taking the time to come in and chat with me. You've had a really amazing career. I mean, in the entertainment industry, careers don't typically last as long as yours. How have you made that happen?
You know, it's by accident. I wish I could take the credit for it. My first film, fortunately, obviously, was The Godfather, and for the last 42 years, that's become an iconic brand. And then, you know, I'm just rehashing because I just wrote a new show that I'm currently producing and performing in New York City at the Cirque once a month. And I did a show, you know, calling tribute to the greatest theme songs in motion pictures.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and going through that, I realized that I did 45 motion pictures.
Wow.
That won 10 Oscars.
That's impressive.
And I'm not even an actor.
So, how did you land The Godfather? And when you were doing it, did you have any idea that it was going to become the thing that it is?
Well, you know, I had the idea because the book was in its third print by the time we made the movie. And I knew how many people in the world, maybe, whatever your heritage is, how they caressed the gray side of the world. I call it the gray side, not the black or the white.
Sure.
Because, you know, the admiration, even me as a child with James Cagney and Rich Conte and Humphrey Bogart, you know, this is what I grew up with. And, you know, to see Marlon Brando on the waterfront and, those kind of movies, I had an instinct for it, and fortunately I was right. And I'm probably, when you look at every performer in that movie, I made a career at 42 years of one film. I've been blessed with, as I say, 44 others have won 10 Oscars combined. But I don't know. I mean, thank God for, AMC and Paramount, who's constantly preserved the brand and really cherished it. I'm across 4 generations. It's craziness.
No, I mean, actually, I printed out your IMDb, and just to give people, I mean, it's about 5 pages. 5 pages of achievements, and we're talking films and television like, Prison Break, Meet the Mobsters, After the Sunset, Seabiscuit, Red Dragon, Rush Hour 2, Harvard Man. I mean, that's 3,000 Miles to Graceland, and we're still at the top of page 1. This just gives you an idea of the depth of work that you've done. Outside,
I could take credit for it. It just happened. I just got a call from Cross Creek, my good friend Tim Brady, and they're sending me the script for Whitey Bulger.
Oh, wow.
They finally cast Johnny Depp, and they want to offer me a role. But here I am. I'm going on 72, and I'm still getting these phone calls. I don't have an agent. I don't have a manager. It's like nuts.
That's true. So, they're doing a biopic of Whitey Bulger, and for those of you out there that don't know, Whitey Bulger, renowned, I guess you'd call him gangster, who was like in hiding for something like 17 years or more, and and then he was finally actually captured, and I mean, just linked to an unbelievable amount of crimes, and yet still managed to evade law enforcement for that amount of time. What kind of role are they offering you?
Well, I'm going to read it. I don't want to be overzealous about it.
Sure.
I want to see, number one, that I know one or two of the gentlemen that I think they want me to portray. When I know them personally, because I spent a lot of time in Boston, and I know and met Whitey Bulger one face to face. So it's my life is totally different. I'm not the James Caans or the Al Pacinos who, I don't study acting. I'm basically, I guess they would call me a method actor. Because I know the people.
Right.
Where I get myself indicted tonight, and that's what I do.
So, so I know that obviously you work with Pacino on the Godfather films, and then you also worked together again on Any Given Sunday. So,
great experience.
Yeah. So, I mean, is there sort of an ongoing relationship between, or just happen to sort of work out that way?
No. Pacino, I think out of everyone I've worked with, I mean, he's a genuine guy. He's finally mellowed out. And, no, really. I mean, I can understand these kids. They get so much so fast. It's hard. We're going through this idiot, Justin Bieber.
Yeah, right.
It's hard when you're offered so much money, you're getting so many accolades, and millions of people want you. It's hard, I think. And I'm on the outside looking in, and I've always stayed that way. Fortunately, I have an autonomy that fortunately I don't. I walk down the street, and maybe you may stop me on the street and say, "Did I go to school with you?" Or, I know you, But I don't know how, but I would appreciate it. And that's what I don't think they do. They don't caress their stardom the right way. And I think these young kids who are iconic already, but they are the images and they are the people the young generation is trying to mimic. So when you have that privilege, I think you need to put your best foot forward. and really show people what this means. See, I'm an old soul. I love the Cagneys. I love the glamour of the stars that used to be. The studios backed them. The studios groomed them. They dressed them. I mean, 24 hours a day you go on television, and you see these young actors showing up in jeans. My gardener is dressed better than that. I wear
No, I agree. I think, I mean, I'm certainly not what I would describe as anything resembling. I'm not a believer, but I do, to an extent. I got to figure if I were in his shoes. Although I figure my shoes would be bigger. It's got to be. You definitely need some sort of somebody around you giving you some parameters to understand how to operate within this completely unique bubble that you find yourself in. Because I don't care how well adjusted you are. You're 19, 20, 21 years old, and the entire world is going, "Oh, we love you." It could mess with your head a little bit.
I'm sorry?
I was going to say that kind of scenario, I could see where that would mess with your head a little bit and be, but there's clearly nobody there sort of reining him in.
You know what's so sad? If we're targeting one person, I think it's Bieber. Mm-hmm. When you see his father getting stoned with him, who does this kid have to lean on? If his father's directing him in the wrong way, where does he really go?
No, definitely. I mean, there is no guidance there. Absolutely, I would agree.
What's these bells going off? What's going on?
It means there's a phone call coming in, and I'm not sure exactly what that's about. Although, do we have a caller? Apparently not. That was a musical interlude just for our enjoyment.
Oh, good. I thought it was one of my ex-wives looking for me.
Oh, no, might have been one of my ex-wives looking for me instead. So I'm curious, Gianni, how many ex-wives do you have?
I have 3 or 4.
Three or four. Not entirely. I've only got 2, but I've got room to expand, so that's okay.
Yeah, but I have 10 mothers to my kids. That's the good news.
Oh, there you go. How many kids you got?
I got 11.
Really?
Yeah, I got 9 boys, 2 girls, all great kids.
Wow. Nicely done.
It's a legacy. You got to leave a legacy when you're done. When you're done, you're done.
That's not a legacy. That's a track record.
I thought you did your homework. I thought you were going there. That's why I mentioned it.
Oh, no.
I never mention my children. I'm so proud of them.
I know the feeling. I've got 2 myself, and there is there is that sense of joy and pride in them that is undeniable and hard to skip.
How old are you?
I'm not.
You're not what?
Old.
Any age? How young are you then?
All right. I'll admit it right here. I'm 47.
Are you really? You sound like you're 11.
Well, my actual opinion is that age is nothing but a state of mind. That you can,
Believe me, and my mind is in a state that I should be incarcerated. But anyway.
So
I truly believe what you're saying, because here I am, 71 years of age, having the time of my life, but I never not had the time of my life. So keep that attitude. Be happy with the people around you, and you'll live to 100, which is where I'm going.
Absolutely. I mean, I think as soon as you start really paying that much attention to the calendar or some preconceived notion of how you're supposed to look, behave, or feel because of what somebody else says, this is what you do at this age, well, then you've sort of, thrown up the white flag and given up. And sorry, not for me.
Or once you start listening to somebody that's going to tell you how you should look.
Right.
Hang up.
Exactly. So I know that, aside from your very long acting career, you also you sing as well?
Yeah, fortunately, I have a great career in singing. I'm probably the only person that can say this in the world. My only acting teacher was Marlon Brando. My only singing teacher was Frank Sinatra.
So that looks pretty good on the resume. So, in terms of, did they actually give you any sort of guidance, or was things that you learned just by being near them and observing?
Oh no, they gave me guidance. I mean,
wow.
Brando actually worked with me on the closing scene, The Godfather, with Pacino, because he realized that I was not a thespian. I wasn't a trained actor. That was my first film. And he, like so many other people, were more interested in the whole piece, not knowing as we do today what a masterpiece it is,
sure,
crossing generations. But you know, a lot of people were basing that film to launch them and resurrect them.
Mm-hmm.
And Brando was the one to be resurrected. And Richard Conte, I mean, when I first went on the set, the excitement to meet Sterling Hayden, Richard Conte, John Morley, Marlon Brando. I didn't even know who Diane Keaton was or Pacino. I mean, I just heard about James Caan and Brian's song when he played Brian Piccolo.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it was the iconic great actors. And I read the book, and I couldn't believe, like I don't believe yet. Sometimes I think I'm still in a dream that I've had the opportunity to be in one of the greatest movies in the whole world.
No, absolutely. I mean, to call it iconic is an understatement. But so in working with Brando and Pacino there, what did he tell you? What did he impart to you?
Well, you know, again, we were on the set for so many days. I was probably one of the actors, because they paid me so little, that I started in February. I was still on the film until August, which is unheard of. You don't do films where you carry a star for 5 months.
Sure.
But it gave me a tremendous opportunity to spend the time with him. So when he went to, in fact, I used to pick him up in the morning because he loved my car and he loved my chauffeur. I had a Chinese chick as a driver. And we were all staying at the Park Lane Hotel on 59th Street. And he didn't want to stay there because we had like 100, 200 photographers. Now they call them paparazzi, you know, whatever they call them. And we were a closed set. So we would go down on Fifth Avenue and then go to 54th Street. He was at the Elysee Hotel, and he and I would drive over. And he was very concerned of how was I going to pull off that closing scene after Michael baptized my son. And he told me the rest of the family go on to Vegas. Would you go home and wait for me? And obviously, I read the script. I knew I was going to die.
Which is something I wanted to ask you about, because that scene where you're, lucky enough to get a cord wrapped around your neck, that had to be a little bit tough to shoot.
Well, that was easy.
Oh.
The scene prior to it, where Pacino confronts you.
Right.
And you know you're not going to die, but you can't reveal it. And as Brando said to me, you're in a 16-foot by 35-foot screen, not television, full screen.
Right.
You have to show the fear. You have to think maybe you can get out of this. You can't let the audience you're going to die. And that's the genius of Brando. Because when he said, when they hand you that ticket, I want you just to look your eyes down, open the ticket like a security blanket, that maybe they really bought you a ticket. Maybe they're really letting you leave. As Pacino's telling you, Stracci's dead. Barzini's dead. Today I take care of all family business. I mean, to me, that's the only scene, and fortunately it's recognized throughout the world, that I really acted in. The rest were all physical scenes. But Brando brought that to the screen, and I'll bless him for it and thank him for it for the rest of my life.
So it was really about sort of guiding you into behaving as though, I mean, what you knew was coming, you didn't know was coming, and so just be present in that moment.
I mean, the guy, we all recognize his genius, but he told me early on, I was like 28, 29 years old. He said, acting is not about acting, it's about reacting.
Okay.
Can you explain it to me? And that's exactly, when you look at actors, they react to a line or an emotion. If you're going to act it, the world's going to see it, and you're not going to be recognized.
I get. Wow, that's. I totally get that.
And to me, it's a great philosophy.
Mm-hmm. So, unfortunately, we are running out of time, and I'll tell you, I would absolutely love to get you back on the show in a few weeks, and I feel like we've barely scratched the surface. But I do want to top onto one thing while there's bells are ringing. I also understand that.
Me and my gal.
See, you are a singer. I also understand that you have a winery that you do as well. Yeah.
It's about wine. You know, I didn't even want to tell Sean I don't want to sell nothing. To me, my life is blessed. My wines are fabulous. I have another product coming out soon. I just appreciate your interest and everybody out there.
No, absolutely. I mean, my pleasure to have you, and again, would love to continue the conversation. Like I say, I feel like we've what is Dionne Warwick saying? We've only just begun. Was that Dionne Warwick? I don't even know.
Yes, that's the last word. That's the last person who should. That's okay. We could do a 90-minute segment, easy.
Agreed, and perhaps we shall. I think that might be.
But I appreciate your attention. I appreciate anyone that's listening to this. Live your life to the fullest, lie to nobody, and have a great life. God bless you all.
Well, Gianni Russo, I want to thank you again, and we'll be in touch, and let's see about moving the conversation forward. I really appreciate it.
Answer those calls. They're all my kids calling me. Where I am.
Well, either that or they're mine, and they finally found me.
All right. Well, we'll chop it up. I love you all. God bless you.
Take care, my friend.
Hello?
And I'll tell you, we are going to take a very quick break here on American Psycho before we come back with the second half of the show and our next round of guests. So don't go anywhere, because we're not. And if you do go, then you're going to miss out on the good times that are coming. And what's the point in that? I don't think so. So, again, I'm your host, Brian Crow. This is American Psycho. We will talk to you in just a little bit.
Managed services. You need to make a change to your website but don't know how to do it? Don't have a content management system installed or don't understand how to use it? Managed hosting is the way to go. With XMLA Managed Website Hosting, you just email us or give us a call and we will update your website for you. Packages start at only $24.95 per month, and it's only $5 for each additional gigabyte of space, and you can host and serve your site on a fast, reliable platform with complete control. Visit xmlahost.com for complete information.
Yes, we are back. I told you it was going to be a short break. Do I lie to you? Of course I don't. Why would I? I don't know you that well. And even if I did know you that well, I wouldn't lie to you. You're too precious and special to me. And what are you wearing? Oh, this just got weird. All right, so we are going to continue the show. Our next guest, our next group of guests, I just love the sound of that phone ringing. I believe we've got a Mr. Patrick Doyle. Patrick, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you all right.
Okay, great.
How are you doing? Thank you so
doing
much
fine.
for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So you are who is there anybody else on the line, or is it just
sorry, that's me cropping up back in the background. This is Jay. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Thank you guys so much for calling in and taking your time. And you are associated with the sci-fi show Ghost Mine, am I correct? God, please tell me yes, because if you're associated with something else, I'm going to be such an asshole.
Nope, you are correct.
Cool, thank you. Whew. Boy, that would be great.
Yeah, no, we're from a museum in New Jersey. We want to talk about motor oil.
Nope, you nailed it this time.
Okay, cool. Well, there's a first. Well, thank you guys. So I'll be completely honest. I've got limited information regarding Ghost Mine, other than the fact that what you guys actually go to haunted mines and go find ghosts that are in there.
I hope one of the ghosts in them.
Yeah, to give you that quick synopsis, we were at one mine for 2 seasons.
Wow.
So we didn't travel to different mines like the other ghost shows. This was unique. It was, for myself, I'll let Jay talk about the mining since he was the greenhorn. I was one of the paranormal investigators. Me and Kristen were the team brought up to this, to the mine, the Crescent Mine in Sumter, Oregon, because it has a haunted history, haunted past, and it was being opened for the first time in over 80 years. And they've been experiencing some very strange things. So Kristen and myself went to go investigate this mine, and this is basically the first time an investigation like this has ever been done, where an investigating team has been at one location for an extended period of time, working beside the people that are actually working that mine.
So there's actually people in the mine. What kind of a mine is it?
So it's a underground hard rock mine.
Okay.
And
a hard rock mine, so like the Scorpions and Ted Nugent and Judas Priest, that kind of hard rock? Or no, I'm sorry.
Very hardcore, long hair, tattoos, the whole thing. No, but what's fascinating is I was hired on as one of the greenhorn miners. And as a greenhorn, that means I know nothing about mining. I'm just there trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing, get yelled at a lot. And of course, when we get there, that's when I first meet the mining crew, who I had my boss Stan there, and a few others. And that's when we were introduced to the paranormal investigators that were also showing up. So we were both kind of put into this world that we weren't really expecting. I was there to learn how to mine. Patrick and Chris were to investigate the activity that was going on. But neither one of us, as a team or crew, had any experience or idea of what we would be going through.
Wow.
So it was pretty interesting trying to mine around the paranormal events that were taking place, and at the same time having a crew that ultimately, helped us figure out what was going on, and it was just kind of a weird mix, but it worked out so great.
That's amazing. So, I mean, what kind of background do the two of you have? I mean, let's face it. Most people probably don't get up in the morning and go, "Hey, you know what I want to do? I want to go explore paranormal activity and look for ghosts in mines." So, where did that come from? What brought you to that?
Well, of course, we come from different sides, as Jay said. Jay went in as the greenhorn miner, where I've been a paranormal investigator for quite some time now. First becoming interested in the paranormal at a very young age. So I had been doing paranormal investigating and research for many years, and I was approached and asked if I would want to go on this adventure to do this investigation. I just jumped at the chance because, like I said before, it's the first time anything like this has ever been done in my field.
Sure. So, I mean, how did... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, well, for me, being a greenhorn, basically what that means is you're taking on the responsibilities of trying to fit in with a experienced mining crew. And I was one of 2 greenhorns. Jamal was the other greenhorn, but we had basically come into this literally knowing nothing of the mining industry, the hazards, things like that. So I actually came from a computer web development graphic design background, which I've been doing for 20-something years.
So that's a little bit of culture shock.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But you know what the cool thing is? I got to put down the computer and the mouse and the keyboard, and I actually got to blow stuff up every day. That's the coolest part of that.
Oh, see, now there's a job description I can get behind. What do you do? I blow stuff up.
Yep.
I'm trying to figure out...
Definitely added to the investigation as well.
Yeah, yeah. And then so we got ghosts, and we got explosions, we've got gold, we've got the whole gamut.
So, did you ever find any ghosts going, "Would you stop it? Enough with that explosions. You're bothering me."
You know what? I wouldn't say they were saying stop the explosion. I think they just didn't want us around in general. You know, there's some, Patrick has some extensive history he's done on a lot of the kind of the myths that have surrounded mining with Tommy knockers and red-headed women and things like that. So I'll let him explain that. But the impression I got, of course, first going in there was, this place can't be that bad. Inevitably, in the end, we really came to rely upon Patrick and Kristen to kind of not only find answers, but help us understand what we were dealing with and make us kind of put us at ease, which wasn't always the case.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean,
Patrick, why don't you talk about?
So, I mean, what kind of ghosts or spirits are hanging around in a mine, and I guess in finding them, is it sort of marking the experience? Is there anything to I don't know, find a way to maybe help them pass on to a better place other than other than a mine in Oregon, or how does that work?
Yeah, when Chris and myself, the way we investigate, we don't do the helping them go to the next level or passing, going to the light, we'll say.
Sure.
We're more in the research and just trying to find answers to the big questions out there, like what are ghosts and how can they do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about the mind, again, this was a brand new environment for us, and I had to say it was a learning experience every time we went into the mine, because we had to get MSHA certified. We had to become basically miners on paper to even go onto the site. So it was a very dangerous environment. We learned to have much respect for men who do this type of work on a daily basis, because it is extremely dangerous, especially when you're reopening these mines that have been shut down for almost a century. And we didn't know what we were going in to find, really. We had done our research. We knew the superstitions of Tommy knockers and all the other superstitions that these men have. But when it came to the paranormal, yeah, we didn't know what we were going to find, and we found a lot of evidence that really pointed to residual hauntings, and even a few intelligent haunts where we got direct responses to our questions that we asked.
Gotcha. So, I mean, I'm sort of unfamiliar, I guess, with the vernacular, but you talk about residual hauntings and intelligent ones. What's the difference between those?
A residual haunt is where you're getting activity, but the activity you're getting, it could be a voice, it could be a shadow, it could be you're seeing a figure. You're seeing it, but it doesn't recognize that you're there. It's like watching some video footage or hearing some audio tape that's playing over and over again. It's just kind of on a loop. It doesn't interact with you. It's just there. An intelligent haunt is when we're asking questions and asking for it to show itself, or whatever we ask, we're getting direct responses, yeses and nos on audio recorders, and the figures are a little bit more, I don't know, how would you describe it, more tangible and vibrant and there.
Mm-hmm. A little more interactive?
Yes.
All right, so I mean, there had to be the point where you had the first experience with, a ghost or a spirit interacting with you. Did it not just completely freak you out?
Absolutely, yes.
Me, no. Just because I've been doing this for so long that you learn to turn that part of your brain off.
Okay.
But
I mean, in all of your experience, what was that? Nobody forgets their first time.
Oh yeah.
What was that first time where, like, you asked a question and out of the ether something said yes, and you went ah?
Yeah, because when we're getting answers, we're really not hearing it with our ears.
Okay.
It's more it's an EVP, it's an electronic voice phenomenon. So we're actually recording the voice, and we have to listen to it later on. And that's when you get the chills up your spine and the holy crap moment.
Wow.
And then we go back into that same spot to hopefully get more activity. And sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. It's a crapshoot.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the truly fascinating things about it is, when you watch some of these ghost shows, they spend their time investigating a location. They'll spend 24 hours. We were actually working up at the mine two entire summers with the film crew and the investigators. So they really got to devote a serious amount of time to one specific location. And in doing that, going into this, we knew that the mine was actually owned by the Masons. So there's your conspiracy right there. Everybody knows
Right.
Masons are scary, freaky people. So you got the Masonic connection, and then through season 2, we actually learned far more about the history of what the Chinese miners and the tragedy they had gone through within the area. So it was really cool because they could take this one location and really take it apart piece by piece to hopefully try and find some answers. So even though we may never get an answer out of this thing, there are so many different areas of information we got historically that are so cool.
That's amazing. So, I mean, in doing this investigation, what kind of answers are you looking for?
Well, we're really there to, for us, there's always the big question that we're always looking for. Like, we're looking to gather more information on what people are experiencing when they experience paranormal activity. But for this case, we were brought in for a reason. We were brought in to see why the previous mining crew before Jay and Stan and the guys, why they tramped out, why they got scared away. Because basically we needed to pull gold out of this mine so it could be profitable. And we can't have the mining crews being scared away by whatever's in there. So we were brought in there for the sole purposes of figuring out what's going on and basically putting the guys at ease.
And I know that you guys are on to season 3. Is that something that has happened? Or was there any sort of peace that was brought to it, or are things still a little bit shaky up in Oregon?
Well, there hasn't been a season 3 yet. The season is on hold. So we've been there 2 summers, like Jay said. So 2 seasons have already aired.
Gotcha. Okay. Why is season 3 on hold?
We don't get answers like that.
Well, perhaps there's some ghosts you should speak to who could help out.
Yes. Yeah, we're on a need to know basis, and right now we don't need to know.
Yeah, that's boy. How much does that piss you off?
Yeah, you know what? I'm sitting here waiting to go blow stuff up again. Back to work, in the mine.
Yep. Yeah, we're all of us, the miners and me and Kristen. We're all really anxious to get back to work. I think we kind of buttoned up. I think we've mined out, and Jake answered this too. I think we mined out the Crescent. There's a possibility that there's more to see there, but it's called Ghost Mine. It's not just one mine; it could be any mine. And
sure,
from what we heard from the miners, because they are tramp miners that have worked all over the country, all over the world, there's stories of hauntings and mines all over the place.
I mean, and do those stories, is there any relation to them? Similar kinds of events, similar kinds of occurrences? Or there seem to be something unique to each and every event?
Some of them are unique. They have unique bits to them, but there's like some overarching evidence or just experiences that are had, like hearing men that aren't in the tunnels working. So hearing tools like old pickaxes and shovels actually hitting the stone, hearing voices when you know no one's around. So those are some common threads.
So ghosts just really want to go back to work, is what you're saying?
Well, that goes back to the residual haunting that I talked about,
right,
where you're hearing the voices, you're hearing the noises, but they're not actually there. You're tapping into another time or another dimension.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as one of the miners, you really do try and convince yourself that that's what's going on.
Right.
Inevitably, there are those moments when you realize, hey, I've got the impression that something doesn't want me here or doesn't want me finding their gold. So it's a little bit of a mind game in there. And but again, just like any other mine of this type, I think you're dealing with situations where you're dealing with some of the strongest emotions you've got. Anger, hatred, greed, and such tragic deaths as mine collapses and suffocations and fires. So there's so many different possibilities. So I think there always will be some sort of common thread between a haunted mining sort of scenario, but I think they also have very different aspects about them as well.
Yeah, because you got to remember if someone dies in a mine, it's not going to be pretty.
No, I would imagine not.
So we got all that tragedy and all that negative energy that basically feeds the activity that we're researching. So when you look at it, mines are actually a perfect environment for this type of research. They're man-made open tombs, basically.
Sure. I mean, I would almost describe it, at least sounds like an emotional reverberation.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So what kinds of things do present-day miners experience that would give them the impression, okay, there's something here and it doesn't want me here?
Well, there's a little bit of, sorry, Patrick, I'll let you speak on this too, but there's certain scenarios that you tend to kind of feel that make you feel as if it was a residual sort of experience, seeing something moving in the mine. Now, I'll warn you, when you go in there and you got your headlamp on and you got water on the ground and it's dark, your mind will already play tricks on you. So when you find out it's haunted, you think everything's out to get you in the mine.
Right.
But you're really trying to convince yourself a lot of times that what you're seeing is not there. But one of the nice things that we had available to us was some of the equipment that Patrick and Kristen had set up in the mine to run video equipment so they could monitor what was going on. And they were able to catch certain scenarios where you would see some sort of figure standing behind another miner, right as mining equipment into kind of malfunction for some odd reason. You had your lights being turned out. That's when you start to recognize, okay, this may not be, just a residual. And then, of course, we were able to deduce over a long period of time, thanks to, again, Patrick and Kristen, that what appeared to us is the closer we got to locations we hold, actually, so there's the theory that as we got closer, something really didn't want us back then.
Yeah, and some really strange stuff did happen as the guys were blasting deeper into the tunnels, which was releasing energy because that's one of the big theories. The men actually chase a quartz vein, and a theory in the paranormal community is that, and there's truth to it, that quartz contains energy, and when that energy is released, it could feed the paranormal. So when these guys are blasting that quartz, it's actually supercharging that mine. So we were getting some very odd activity as the guys were working. A few of them got sick in the mine where there's no gas leaks because we're at 8,000 foot where there is no natural gas leaking through. We did daily oxygen checks. That happened many times during the day. Mm-hmm. So oxygen levels were fine. But the illnesses that Dingus and Kristen had, it brought them to their knees basically, and they were unexplained, and they described it as being this just dark heaviness on them.
Wow.
And then, of course, through the second season, when Eddie had whatever happened on his ribs, where, it looked like he was beaten with a stick. He turned bright red and was experiencing pain. That's when I started going, hey, you know what? Can we get any priest miners in there next time? Or anything, maybe some shaman miners?
Right.
Maybe a little one of these. That ought to help.
Does anybody know an exorcist with a pickaxe?
Exactly.
Because like what Jay said, we found some Masonic ties here because Sumter itself was a pretty booming town before the fire in 1970 wiped it out. And the Masons had a huge part of that. And they owned the Crescent Mine at some time. And we found a lot of evidence that they used the Crescent Mine as a meeting hall. We found some... Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I'm thinking.
I guess my wife's walking in, and I have some paperwork to sign.
This is our meeting hall. It's 8,000 feet under the surface of the earth, but it's our meeting hall. Please have a seat.
But that's what the Masons did when. I'm sorry, I'm signing my name again. That's what the Masons did. We have photographic proof that Masons held some meetings inside the earth, and that's what the meaning of vitriol means. It's going deep into the heart of the earth to basically tap into that energy. And we found the word vitriol carved into the one of the ribs of the mine.
Really?
We found some artifacts that tie back to a ritual. And when Jay said that Eddie got attacked, but with the slapping on the side of his rib cage, that was right outside of a Masonic bulkhead made of stone.
You know, those
A
pesky
bulkhead is
Masons, I'll
actually
tell you.
Sorry. A bulkhead, when you put a bulkhead in the mine, you usually put in a bulkhead for two specific reasons. One is it's basically a false wall, usually made out of wood. The one Patrick is referring to is actually made out of stone, but its purpose is to keep people out of certain areas of the mine, usually because it's dangerous. Now, the fact that this one was stone, makes you wonder a little bit what was back there.
Mm-hmm.
And we also had the theory that possibly what they were doing is not protecting dangerous areas of the mine, but trying to keep people from getting back to something more valuable.
Right. Which would certainly fall in line with Masonic legend, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were finding bulkheads that basically blocked every entrance into the mine, and they all had the same symbol on them, which was very similar to the all-seeing eye that you see on a dollar bill, the back of a dollar bill.
Right, the whole Illuminati thing.
Exactly. We were finding that carved in planks of wood inside the mine.
It's just so. I'm just thinking. All right, so wait. So this happened, and this all happened what, like 100 years or so ago? And
yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So you got to think. It's like no one's been in that mine for nearly 100 years, about 80 so years. So it wasn't teenagers going up there drinking and putting graffiti on the walls.
Right.
This place was sealed shut. Like when the mine owner opened it a couple years ago, it was partially flooded, so all this water came rushing out.
Mm-hmm.
And Jay and a bunch of other people, we found artifacts. We found whiskey bottles in there. Jay found one with whiskey still in it.
Was it any good?
I don't know. I quit drinking. So I can't
God, you quit drinking in your line of work, dude.
Yeah, I know. This is not the
If there was ever a moment, hello.
Yeah, but we were finding a lot of cool because it looked like because in the show Jay even said that it looked like the miners just kind of threw down their tools and left in a hurry, and that's what we found. We found old hammer handles. We found hand stills. I found a little tin of grease, and when I opened it, it must have been the first time it had been open in 80 years. I could still see the fingerprints of the miner that passed in the grease.
Wow, that's amazing. That's
stuff.
amazing. So, is there an end game or sort of an overall goal in doing all of this, or is it just simply let's gather as much information as we can and figure it out later?
You know what? I think we had competing goals in all this. Of course, the miners, we were there to do a job, and we had to get back in there and mine and produce some gold. We were supporting our families. We were. This was a major job for us. And at the same time, Patrick and Kristen, they had their objective to get in, find some answers, and see if, we could come to some agreement that this was possibly okay to work or we needed to get out now. But ultimately, I mean, we really came to rely on each other to get a job done. And, so they would kind of tell us, give us their input on some of the scenarios we were having in the mine and how to deal with it appropriately, or if we needed to take warning. And at the same time, the miners were responsible for making sure Patrick and Kristen were safe in the mine from falling rocks. And so it was really a good little team effort.
Yeah, after 2 seasons, even after the first mining season, we pretty much became a really tight-knit family. We know each other's immediate family, wives and kids. We've had barbecues with them, so we're a very tight-knit group. We don't hold anything back, and you see that on the show. It's like we speak our mind, and that's the way it needs to be at a mine site, because we have our practical jokes every once in a while, as Jay could tell you. But when it comes to like mining and being inside the mine, it's because it's such a dangerous environment. You learn to basically trust these guys with your life, So
Yeah, I would think this would be a bonding experience on a large scale. I don't see
Very
how
much
you.
so.
Yeah, I don't know how you could go through that and not go. Yeah, we became close.
yeah,
Yeah.
true. And yeah, like Jay was saying, it's like you got falling rocks, slabs that could just drop on you and kill you. Like slabs that weigh as much as a car could just take you out.
Wow.
And you wouldn't even know it.
So we're actually about to run out of time, but before we do, all right, I want to hear what was the best practical joke that somebody pulled.
Jay will answer that one.
Well, there's a couple that we can't really discuss on the radio. They were just fun. But the one that everybody witnessed on the show that was actually, you know what, I'll give these guys credit for, was they had, while we weren't watching, a couple of the guys had put some powdered drink mix in our boots, some red powdered drink mix, like Kool-Aid or something. Now, we got dressed to go into the mine, and this was another miner, Mikey Griffith, and I. And so Mikey and I are in there, and these guys ran us to the ringer. Get back there, do this. Well, what they were doing was getting us to sweat a lot, and we didn't realize at the time why. We thought they were just in a hurry to get stuff done. So we've got water in our boots, and we're sweating, and we're grinding this Kool-Aid just into our feet. And what's funny is they must have warned the camera guys, hey, keep an eye on these guys when they come out, because it's going to be funny. And when we dumped the water out of our shoes, Mikey at first was kind of like, what the heck is that? But the second I saw that come out, I knew exactly what had happened. And our feet were stained red for probably a good week and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what they one of the pranks they would do is there's a liner on the inside of your helmet. They would sprinkle it on the liner, and as you sweat, your head would sweat while you're working. You'd get these streaks running down your face. And I can only believe that some producer or something said, do not do that, because you're on camera.
Right.
Which I'm very grateful for, because we would all look idiots.
Yeah. Red foreheads for a week and a half.
All that are like, oh my God, I'm bleeding. What's happening? Ah!
Yeah.
Yeah. So the miners got the brunt of the practical jokes. So they're Kristen and myself. We were in our cabin most of the time while they were working. We stay out of each other's way because they're doing their job, we're there doing our job, and we cross paths when we need to. So all the practical jokes happen on that side.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, gentlemen, unfortunately, and seriously, I wish we had more time to chat. Maybe we should continue this chat down the road. We are out of time, but I want to thank the both of you so much for making yourselves available and incredible stories. And
thank you.
We'll absolutely. Any idea when or if season 3 is going to happen?
When we know, we'll post it on our Facebook and Twitter pages. That's the best place to get everything about Ghost Mine.
Cool. Well, I will definitely keep an eye out, and everybody out there. Is there a way to follow you guys on Facebook, Twitter, anything? How do, other than checking into Sci-Fi, how do people find you guys?
I'll go first, Jay. It's like Facebook. You can find me at, I believe it's patrickdoyle.ghostmine. And Twitter, it's Patrick H.T. Doyle.
And then you can find me at JAY_Verberg, Verburg. That's on Twitter. And once you're there, I've got links to Facebook and Instagram and everything else. So the nice thing is there's a few of us from the show that are extremely well socially connected, and we'll spread you all over the Ghost Mine crew.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, again, thank you both so much. And
no, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. And take care. Be well. Everybody out there, thank you again so much for tuning into this episode of American Psycho. We're going to be back in a few weeks. Different name, same attitude. Who knows what else is going to happen? I don't, and I think that's part of the fun. So drive dangerously, take risks, or drive safe and wear a condom. Whatever makes you feel good. I'm your host, Brian Crow. Everybody take care.
For more from the American Psycho, stay tuned for Liquor and Poker coming up next on X-Psych Radio.